It didn't add us. There we go. Good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this May 2nd version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. We're also on Roku. I'm glad you're here.
Morning.
Morning. How are you?
Second Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least the weather's nice.
Yeah, it was a little cooler last night. I mean, at night, I had trouble sleeping the day before just because it was still warm. I'm not anxious for
Turn
summer.
AC on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're for.
Yeah.
Bang the dust off of it, or the snow out of it, or the ice.
That's right. Yeah, it's so weird to go from, heat. I mean, and this is that time of the year where gets really warm during the day, and sometimes you got to turn on the AC and
then cools off at night.
Cools off
open
at
up
night.
all the windows, and it feels so good.
Yeah.
Doug Trice Memorial Golf Tournament this weekend. There's still spots. Sign up. Message me or Dana out at Buffalo Peak. 10 a.m. shotgun start. $100 per person. Prizes. Catering. There'll be lunch. It's for a great cause. It provides scholarships right here in the Valley for high school athletes.
All right. Good deal.
Should we bang some sports out?
Yep, let's do it.
LHS baseball and softball both swept Baker on Friday. Not a big concern or deal. I mean, we're both sitting right in the number. So on the polls that count here, and I'll reiterate this for everybody. I don't pay any attention to OSAA polls because they don't matter. They're West Side focused. It's all based on who you've played, and we don't play good. It's a mess over there. So I pay attention to mid-major media's polls, and I shouldn't even give them a shout out on here, but I'm going to. We're number 2 in both of those, and I agree with those. My idea of what the poll should look like is closest to theirs. So right now we're number 2 in the state in softball and baseball. We got swept in baseball by Pendleton. That's who we end the season on in a couple weeks right here. That's going to be the games of the year right there. And then in softball, we split with Pendleton. So that's who we end the season. We're playing both of those games 2 weeks from Wednesday, or a week from Wednesday, right here in LeGrand. So those are going to be huge games. On this Wednesday, we travel to Ontario, both softball and baseball, and those should be easy wins both sides. So, we're looking at making a state championship run in baseball and softball, and there's a realistic shot in both. EOU baseball ended their season this weekend. They lost all 4 games at home to C of I. I think next year is going to be better for them. They had a rough season this year, and it is what it is. It kind of chalk it up as a transition. The coach moved here 2 games into the season, so they'd already played two preseason games before he even took over, and he's got his own talent that he's got to bring in now and try to make a name for himself. And I told him when I interviewed him, we sat down and talked. I said, "This is definitive for your career. You're young. You put yourself in a position where it's make it or break it right here, like right off the bat. You know what I mean? So we'll see." Softball, they won all 4 games at home against Warner Pack this weekend. Kaylee Hoskins became the all-time strikeout leader in the CCC, in the whole conference. She has 285. The previous record was 272, and that was set in 2011. She also broke Sandoval's record from Southern Oregon for shutouts in a season with her 16th shutout of the year.
Wow.
Which is crazy. I mean, this team, they're not quite as good as they were last year. We don't hit the ball as well. We didn't win as many games. We're not going to win as many games. But pitching-wise, our number 1, she's the best pitcher we've ever had in EOU history. Hands down. I asked Nicole, I was like, and Nicole played with one of the best, probably arguably the best before Kaylee and Robin Leasack, and she said Kaylee's the best. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And we have her for 2 more years after this because of COVID. So she's a junior, and this is her 3rd season, but because of COVID, she's got 2 more years of eligibility, which is awesome. So looking forward to that. They play May 5th in Klamath Falls against UBC. And I was telling Tim Seydel before the show this morning. I think they have to win that game to have an honest chance at a at large selection for the national tournament. I mean, they still have a chance to win the tournament. I mean, any team can win this tournament in the top 5, but in order to get that at large bid, if we don't, I think we have to win the opening round against UBC, and it's a tough game, toughest conference in the country.
Huh.
Yeah,
cool.
That's it.
All right, good stuff. Thank you. So, want to talk about one of our new sponsors, Grand Ron Hospital Therapy, and specifically Greg Dombeck, who is my physical therapist. As many of you know, I had a full knee replacement. It's been 2 weeks ago yesterday, and still hobbling around. And but I've started therapy with that knee, and starting soon, we're going to start having. I'm going to have regular updates on how I'm doing. I'll give you a little bit of history on what's involved in recouping a knee surgery, and so that'll be part of our future sponsors. And we appreciate Grand Ron Hospital and specifically their physical therapy area for sponsoring the AM show. So, weather, what's it like out there, man?
Gonna be warm, isn't it?
Yeah,
feels like it.
Let me see what. Yeah, I think the high today is 78.
Yes.
Is that crazy?
I love it.
Yeah.
I could even go 10 degrees on top of that and be okay.
Not me, man.
Yeah. I love it.
When I start perspiring, all the fun goes out of it.
I got my first sunburn of the year this weekend. That's when I know it's like, oh, okay, we can start.
I know that's kind of a mark for you.
Anymore.
It's kind of one of those things that is like, yeah.
First sunburn of the year, and I'm ready.
You need your first good cooking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I even had sunscreen on. It was cooking on Saturday. It was good.
What's the weather supposed to be like this Saturday?
I thought it was supposed to get crappy again. I don't think it's supposed to be quite as nice.
Yeah.
But we're doing it regardless.
Yeah.
We got scholarships to hand out in a month.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I didn't get to do it last year. I had to take pictures.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I remember somebody didn't show up to take pictures. And so I had to, instead of hand out the scholarship, I just sent Dana up there and I took the pictures.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good time. It's for a good cause. And that golf tournament's fun. This is only going to be the second time we've actually played the tournament. If you remember, the first year was right smack dab in the middle of COVID. And we just played me and Caleb, the mayor, against Dana and Carlito, the basketball coach up at EOU. Remember, we just played head to head,
right? Yeah,
and raised money like that, and we ended up being able to give out scholarships just based off of that. And then last year we had actual tournament, and then this is year 3, but only the second actual tournament.
How many teams do you normally have for that?
I think we had 14 last year.
Wow, that's awesome.
Not sure exactly how many we have this year, so we'll see. Even if we only have 10 teams, we still most of the money that we raise comes off of sponsorships. Pepsi's the title sponsor. You got Reed and Associates. Rock and Sons. They all know that it's kind of when it is, and they all B&K. They all throw a little bit of money towards the scholarships.
See, the whole golf tournament thing is kind of new for me. I'm involved in a board called Creating Memories for Disabled Children. They have a camp up at Wallowa Lake, and they have a big fundraising golf tournament down in Bend that I have been a part of. And I'm hoping that eventually we can have one of those tournaments up here at Buffalo Peak too.
Good luck. I mean, you better start talking now, because there's a lot of tournaments in this valley, fundraiser tournaments.
Yeah, it wouldn't be until next year, but that's
no. I mean, just there's a lot of reoccurring tournaments.
Right. Yeah.
Like there's not a lot of spots.
Yeah.
Along the way.
Well, I started that conversation with Dana. We just never did get it going, but cool stuff. Yeah. So, also want to mention one of our sponsors of this morning show, Valley Insurance. They are recently relocated to downtown LeGrand. Matt and Joel really good people have chosen to invest in downtown LeGrand, and they moved into the old Umpqua Bank building. How many different banks has that building been over the course of? I mean, it was Pioneer Bank when I moved here, First Bank, and then Umpqua. It's probably something else too. Anyhow,
I don't remember what it was when I was a kid.
yeah,
It's a long time ago.
but yeah, but great building. They're in the process of doing some remodeling on that building, and be sure and stop in and see them. They have a variety of services and can take care of your insurance needs. Appreciate them. So, all righty. Well, this morning, it's a pleasure to have Tim Seydel from Eastern Oregon University. He's the Vice President of University Advancement, and he's going to be with us here in just a minute to talk about all things EOU. We'll be right back. All right, thank you. We're back with Tim Seydel, Eastern Oregon University. How you doing, man?
Good, doing great.
Awesome.
Wonderful mornings, beautiful sunshine out there. Ooh, you were talking about the weather warming up. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's like it moved quickly to summer.
Yeah.
We
Now,
didn't have much of a spring.
you are a runner or a biker, or
Biker.
both? I'm kind of remember.
Both. Biker is in terms of cyclist. Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. I actually went for a run this morning with my little dog, and we had a great time. It's really nice to go out in the mornings when it's like this, a little bit warmer. Sun's coming up. It's just beautiful.
It's probably a lot easier.
It's a lot easier
get
than
yourself-
yes, when you get up and there's snow or something. You think, how much do I
No.
need to wear to go outside?
Do you ride that bike in the snow?
No,
I didn't think
I gave
so.
that up a while ago. That's just not.
That's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous, and yeah, it's a good way to end up with a lot of physical therapy.
So how do you run with a dog?
I have a little waist belt, and then her harness, or clips onto her harness that way, a little bungee cord kind of leash, and she just runs alongside me.
And she keep up
Keeps
with you?
pace.
Yeah.
So
normally I
nobody's
have to keep
pulling
up with
nobody?
her. No, she pulls me sometimes.
She
I get a
pulls
little help that way. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. She's a little younger than me, so she's ready to roll in the
What
morning.
kind of dog is it?
She's called a King Schnauzer. She's half miniature Schnauzer and half Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. It wasn't what we were
So-
expecting when we got her, but we love her.
What, like 30 pounds, 35?
Oh no, she's only like 13 pounds.
Oh, that's just a little
Yeah.
like teacup.
Yeah, she's
So
but
I
she's
had a wiener dog about that 13 pounds.
Yeah, not a lot of running with wiener dogs.
No.
see
a lot
that
of laying
lot.
around in the sun with the bulldog.
Yeah, that's right. They're sun dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always, and I'm not far from this place, but it's always funny to me when you see an older person walking an older dog.
Yeah.
And the older dog is like, I mean, they're literally having to pull them.
Oh,
along.
yeah.
You know,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
just- they're just barely, yeah.
We have an old Shih Tzu who named Dora, and I call her One Speed because she has one speed when we go for a walk, and it's usually slow. It's always slow, and it's always behind me. And so the puppy's up ahead, and she's usually way behind me. So I've got going two different directions, holding one and
My parents have basset hounds.
Yes.
And I walk them when I babysit them because they have to be babysat and fed their chicken and all this. And they got those dogs. Whoa, they have energy, man.
Yeah,
a
good.
lot. You look at them, you're like, oh, these are probably loppers. That's what I. But once they get outside, whoa, man, basset hounds, they get on their little.
get their scent, get something going.
Yeah.
Big sniffers.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They're obnoxious and they're big. they're big. I mean, basset hounds
Yeah,
are
they're big
long,
dogs.
big dogs,
Little hound
and they just take over the whole room. Both of them. You get up, The crazy thing is the boy, if you get up out of a chair in their house, automatically he gets in it. It doesn't matter. It's just an automatic, you know what I
like
mean?
a little brother
oh,
almost.
dude,
Yeah.
it's so annoying. It's like, come on, really? Do I have to get the squirt bottle?
Right, now I
Come
got to
on.
move you again.
Yeah.
Dogs are great.
Oh, that's funny. I've always admired those people that can walk like
Oh, yeah.
8 dogs at one time. I have no idea how that.
It's not easy. I've tried that. So, and it's not with multiple dogs, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
My dad walks both the Basset Hounds at the same time. I do too. But
Yeah.
even that, just the two of them with their different personalities and what they want to do, they're just
Right.
one smells something, one's got to go to the bathroom, and there's, all of a sudden there's 65 pounds of dog pulling you one way and 65 pulling you the other.
Yeah.
It's a good fitness program.
Well, hey, glad you're here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
And glad you're here to talk to us about EOU. And I guess let's start with the presidential search,
Sure.
because I think that's kind of what everybody sees and what's everybody.
You bet.
Yeah. So, but back up just a little bit for those people that might not know.
Sure.
Tom resigning, and then kind of go from there. So.
Sure. So late last summer, then President Tom Insko announced he was going to leave Eastern and go take over, be president CEO of a company called Collins, which is based in Wilsonville. And Tom still has his family property out here though too. But so he took over that company. We have co-presidents right now. Interim co-president Laura Moore, who's our vice president for finance and administration, is kind of handling all the internal things. And then actually our board chair, former board chair, Richard Shavs from Baker City, stepped down from the board to take on the external affairs work as a co-president. So they've been doing that for the last since last September.
Yeah, because they were brand new when I interviewed them at the football game.
Yeah, they just started.
It was just started.
They just started. And so we've been going great. The goal there was not to slow down or take a pause or just sit on things. And we've not done that. We're continuing forward. Of course, we're in a legislative session. So Richard and I are going to Salem quite a bit and talking with legislators about funding for Eastern and all of higher education. And then starting in the fall, we formed a search committee made up of members of the community, alumni, folks from the foundation, the Alumni Association, and of course, faculty, students, and staff. That was a 22-member search committee, and they helped develop the presidential profile. We contracted with a search firm who could help us go out and identify candidates. And they did just that. We've gone through the process then of winnowing everybody down to, we had 3 finalists. If you look on our website, eou.edu, there's a link there on the homepage to the presidential search, and you can take a look at, there's 3 different candidates that we've interviewed over the last week and a half. The board is meeting and contemplating those 3 finalists, and we'll be extending an offer to one of them, and then they will do basically contract negotiations with them, and then the board will have to formally adopt that. So there'll be a public meeting where the board will formally appoint the new president. We'll have a reception to follow that. That'll probably be hopefully in the next week or so. So watch EOU website and our media for announcements about that, for the announcement of a new president. And then we start into a whole transition process.
Oh man.
The candidate or the new president will be appointed, and then there'll be a certain amount of ramp up work, but they'll usually start, we usually target around like July 1st. And then we spend the rest of the summer getting them acquainted with the community, the region, our students, the campus, of course, and getting ready for the fall. Then the fall hits, and as you both know, it's a lot of activity on campus in the fall. All of our athletic programs will start up actually before classes even start. Students are back, faculty are back, and then all of the things that just are great about coming back to school at Eastern, between visual and performing arts activities and academic programs kicking off, and classes, of course, starting, and all of the week of welcome activities, and students coming back into town, and football games, soccer games, cross country, volleyball. So, and those are teams, these are good teams. So you want to watch that volleyball team that went all the way to nationals and did awesome last year. And I mean, I watch them. It's an amazing team. They're just dominating on the court. It's always great to watch football. People say, well, what what does it look like when you have football games before classes even start? I said, go up to the stands and check it out, because there's a lot of people that like to watch EOU football. They come out from the community, from the region, from the area, and like to watch the teams as they play. I'm a big advocate for soccer, and so make sure to get out and watch those EOU men's and women's soccer teams play too, all up there at Community Stadium.
New coach for the women's soccer team.
Yeah,
Josh Goodman.
Yep. So excited about that and see where they're going to go this fall. They've been a great team for the last several years.
Absolutely.
Doing really well.
Yep.
Well, cool stuff.
Yeah.
So how many presidents have you been through? I mean, that's
Yeah, I've had a couple of folks suggest that I should maybe go into consulting about that. Or something.
that's good.
Because so been here since so I joined when President Creighton was here. So we had, and if you count the interims, there's a number of them. So in terms of presidencies, there's been, and I can roll them off. It was President Creighton, then we had interim President Dixie Lund, and then we had President Fademy, and then we had Dixie Lund again come back in. Then we had Bob Davies, and then we had Jay Kenton come in, then Tom Insko, Laura and Richard now, and then the new president. So getting pretty good at this onboarding thing.
Well, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being.
I love doing it. I went to Eastern too, so it's something. It's passionate. It's a passion for me. It's something I love doing.
Yeah. So what are some of the other big things that are happening? The field house is open now.
Field house is open now. If you haven't checked it out, go up there and take a look. It's an amazing indoor facility. It was really wonderful. Like, we do these tours, and I'd walk the candidates around campus and then meet up with our athletic director, Angie Weisenflew, and of course head women's basketball coach, and she'd walk folks through the updates to the athletic facilities. And we get over to that field house, and you just see people's eyes go wide, because it's a facility not unlike a lot of others. So it's pretty unique in this part of the state, and unique especially for Eastern. And then to show off the new, we call it new, but several years ago, but the recently updated track, and of course the new turf on Community Stadium. And then just to talk about what that does for the campus and the university and the community, to bring folks here to play on those, play at those facilities. It's pretty neat. And so that's open. People are using it. We'll be continuing using it. The rock climbing wall is also a phenomenal piece of work up there, multiple stories high. It's there. I know that Mike Hatch is working to get enough people to help staff it, because there's such a demand on it.
Yeah,
so
Alma Crow was on last week, and she was talking about that.
Yeah, it's a fantastic.
So talk for a minute about why those athletic advancements or improvements are important to the kind of students that we draw in the programs. I mean, a lot of people might not make that connection.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, and athletics is important to any university community. It brings in students who want to come here and achieve their dreams. For a lot of students, an athletic scholarship is their only route to college. And we support that, bringing those students here to our campus to play. It brings, as you can tell, brings in community members up to the university to watch the games. We have people that go, didn't graduate from Eastern, and they're there at every volleyball game or every basketball game or every baseball game. They are committed, and they're big fans. So it helps spread the word about the university. We have an excellent program that really focuses on the whole student, the student athlete. So they're not athletes first, they're students. And our coaches do a fantastic job of making sure that, like our wrestling program is one of the top GPAs in the country.
Number two in the whole country.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That's a lot. And that says a lot about the level of excellence that we expect out of our programs. And so these are also really good students, and they graduate and go on to become, doctors, teachers, lawyers, bankers, whatever, and go back to their communities and go help out other folks. And that's really what an athletic program can do to connect to your university. And I'd be remiss if I didn't throw in that we also have like a fantastic visual and performing arts platform as well that brings people up to, there's a renovated McKinsey Theater in Loso Hall up there. That is just, again, a space where you love showing that off, because it's a theater that you just don't see in a lot of other places, particularly in rural Oregon. And what that does when we have music performances, again, you go up there and we do these productions, it's standing room only.
Right.
It's hard to get in there. And Peter Wurtelman and what he puts on with the music department there, and his shows every winter are just incredible. So those kinds of things, what students are looking for today are those extracurricular activities. They want to they want to go get their degree, but they also want to engage in their community at their university. They want to do something. They want to feel like they've got some value, whether that's volunteering in the community and taking part in community activities downtown, or in volunteer activities, or it's getting involved on campus. Whether it's, you're playing on the football team or you're becoming a member of the Star Trek Club, that engagement opportunity to be part of a larger community is really what draws students to come to a university.
And it's vital. I mean, I can imagine there are some, and you probably see this, you have a new student or the checking, or even a new faculty or whatever, they come and and they see the campus, they see all of those assets, and
exactly.
I would imagine they're just blown away from time to time.
They are. Again, we hear it, and even when we're walking around campus, usually folks will stop and say, "The grounds here are amazing." I mean, kudos to our facilities crew. They really take a personal interest in and vested interest in making sure that the grounds look just spectacular. And that's part of it when you're showing it off. And you want to show a nice looking university campus, because if it's dumpy, what are people thinking about the programs and what you offer up there? If it's well taken care of, that says that there's a sense of pride in the university and in the campus. And that just that's why we're updating buildings. Speaking of that, we're updating Inlow Hall. We've been doing a major renovation to Inlow Hall. That's our oldest building. That's the one we started with in 1929. So we're going to be this summer clearing everybody out of Inlow Hall and spreading folks out in appropriate places on campus. We're trying to keep all of our student-facing areas into one area, probably going to move them into the Gilbert Center, so that students don't have to wander around campus trying to find the different offices. Be in one spot, so like admissions, financial aid, registrar's office, some of the key offices, all be in one location, so the students don't have to try to track people down. And then some of the other offices, like mine and the president's offices and our accounts payable folks and things like that, they'll be in different places on campus where we can free up space for them. But the idea is to move everybody out of Inlow, do all the renovation work, and then move everybody back in. That shortens the time and doesn't have us playing a kind of a chess game of moving people around campus as one area gets developed and then another area gets developed and one gets finished up, and then you move them back. And so to decrease that confusion and make sure that our students can really find what they need, we're going to do it all in one fell swoop. So that'll be happening this summer. So we'll be pushing out information about that as this renovation takes place. But then it'll be reconfigured in the building, particularly on the second floor. And some parts of the first floor as well, but to make it stable for especially any land movement or earthquake, seismic issues, we're going to go in and remove all the walls, and so that gives us an opportunity to reconfigure things and make it a more efficient space for our students.
Yeah. And I know that, I mean, it seems like a few years ago they did do some seismic adjustment to that building too.
Yeah, that was one of the initial phases. We'd only had so much funding from the state to be able to do that work, so we did what we could. And now this is the second phase of that to follow.
Wow. But this kind of gives you an opportunity to redesign the interior space. Or
and we've been spending the last multiple months looking at that, what works best, what works, what doesn't work, and what we can do to make it, again, more efficient. Where are we finding where there's wasted space? Where can we, do we really need this many offices, or can we shave those down or reconfigure them, or we maybe need more offices in some other areas to ensure that we can do our work.
Cool.
That'll be fun and exciting. Of course, every time you're moving people around, there's a little concern there, but we're going to work hard on communication and maps and all those good things. So it'll be interesting, because a new president will be joining us, and it'll be okay, this is your temporary office for this year. So they won't be moving into the traditional president's office.
Will it be done over the summer, or will it?
It'll take a year.
Oh, it'll take a full year.
Yep. So move out probably early this summer. People will start moving out, and then do all the work, and then hopefully move back in.
It'll be closed for a year.
Yep.
The whole building.
Yep. It'll be closed for a year. Yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep. And then the grand staircase, of course, big thing that been on my list for a good 20 years or so, and it was nice to get that checked off. But we'll be working on that starting here hopefully pretty soon, working with the contractors and getting all of the pieces in place to really, we're gonna have to remove the staircase. It's Depression era concrete. It just has been there for a long time, as you might imagine, since the late 20s. A lot of damage, a lot of weather damage and all that. So we're going to replace all that and build it. So it'll be a brand new matching staircase in its place, and hopefully get that open late this fall. So if we can do something around homecoming, that'd be great, but at least it'll be done by the end of the year.
So in the design, is it going to be exactly the same, or is
Pretty
there-
much, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there would be maybe some small nuances in terms of some of the code issues around how close we can put the balustrades, maybe make them a little bit closer. There's that's a good example of a code issue when they designed it. It was wide enough apart that a little kid could like put themselves through between the two balustrades.
Right.
So how we figure out how to do that, that'll be one.
But
it'll look the same thing.
Is that EOU property all the way down to the bottom there?
Yeah, basically down to the bottom.
So same on 8th Street, the sledding hill, is that EOU property? That
I think so.
I think it is too.
Yep, I think so. Yeah.
That's gonna be cool, man.
It will, and most people have not even seen the grand staircase unless they've gone to it or they've just stumbled upon it. Are you guys kind of helping once that's restored? Are you going to do some things to kind of help people get there?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, signage, but also in the plan, it includes doing some additional landscaping. So that whole area over there, if you look at it, some of the pictures back in the late 20s, early 30s, it was pretty scrub up there. It was not a lot of trees, not like it is now. And so we'll be going through and updating the landscaping so that to showcase the staircase even more. So it'll be harder to miss if you're driving down the street, and then start redirecting people to come there. So it'll be a wonderful place for new students, for example, to pull up and then see this cool staircase and walk up it and come into the building and learn more about that campus.
So then that it really will be an access point to the campus also.
Yep, access point to the campus. That was the original intent of it. That's what we want to bring back. That gateway to the community both ways. So it's where a place people can come up and people can come down. We're also hoping to be able to put some of the events. We have an event out there called Even Song that was done each spring, like a spring music concert.
Right.
And it was a big deal for many, many years. That went away in the 70s. We'd like to try to bring some of that back, or just some of that, when the weather's like this, how nice would it be to have an outdoor concert?
Yeah, and kind of use the staircase as kind of like an amphitheater.
Exactly. You can, people in the Even Song, the performers were on the staircase, and they would block off part of that street, and people would just set up chairs down on 9th Street there and just open it up, and so people would watch the performance from the street, looking up at the building and the stairs.
Yeah,
so it'll be really pretty.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'll be a really nice asset to add to the community. And people stop and see those things. There's folks who really love to check out interesting architectural masterpieces, and that's one of them, especially out here. So as people are driving through, they'll come off the freeway and come check out the staircase, and then maybe go on down to Baker City and look at the Geyser Grand or something like that, and these other architectural points of interest along the way.
It's a great place to take pictures.
Yeah, boy, how many senior pictures
I have? I grew. So when I moved here, we moved on to 8th Street.
Okay.
So I grew up in that.
There.
I mean, the stairs were still there. They were still operating at that time. And I haven't seen a picture on this there. I mean, probably 50% of the kids that grew up in this
it's pretty common.
Town.
You see everything: prom pictures, graduation pictures,
even now.
Pictures.
Even now.
Oh, I know. Yes, we really don't encourage people to.
No, but there is. I mean, I've seen a bunch this year.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So it's really nice to have that back. That's just I think it feels to me like a puzzle piece or something we can put back into place to connect the university and the community.
Well, and you and I have had lots of conversations, or we've been a part of committees that have talked about how do we enhance that relationship between downtown LeGrand and EOU and continue connecting them together. And that's been something that you've come back to many times yourself, because clearly you're invested in LeGrand also. You've been here long enough and so on and so forth. And so, I like that. I mean, there've been some critics. I see some critics every once in a while, like, why are we spending that amount of money on this and stuff? But there's an incredible amount of value in us restoring historical things. It's expensive. It's not a casual thing, but but that
Yeah.
art, it's a part of art. It's a part of culture that we're investing in.
Sure, and it's a part of our community.
Our
Right.
community,
It's part of community identity. So a lot of times people look back and think, oh, what happened to that building? Well, it got torn down. What happened to that? That old building? Well, that got torn down too. And what can you point to in terms of the historical context of the community and the background that brings people here and what it's all about? And if all of that goes away, you have nothing to really reference. There's no reference
Right.
points.
Yeah.
And that's nice to have a spot like that, something like that.
I don't think the argument is functionality. I think the argument is cultural significance, because functionality, it would be way more, appropriate if there was like a parking lot right there at the bottom, right? Or something.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
function wise, it's not like an absolute necessity for people to get to EOU from there, because you have 8th Street, you can walk up 1 block down. But cultural significance, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
it's just a neat. It'll be nice to have that back.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
You have anything else on your list?
There's some great things going on. Also, I just want to give shout outs to like our early college initiatives program. That's a group of Kathleen Brown and folks are going out there talking to high schools, working with schools to get more college credits available to students, so that they can maybe shorten their time in college, and also get them more exposed to going to the university. And that's been something we've picked up on the last couple of years. And they're doing a great job of just doing that outreach. And again, that's part of getting out into the communities. People always say, well, what are you doing? Are you talking to the high schools? Absolutely. Not just our admissions folks, but with early college initiatives, and our faculty are out there and helping out, people. It was nice to hear in some of the search committee meetings when we're talking with community leaders about how accessible our deans are to community needs, when people are calling them, or school districts saying, hey, can we do something like this? Or we have some help. Can we get some help here? And they're saying, yeah, absolutely. We'll make that happen. Whether it's, how do we put on a little music performance at a small school in rural rural Eastern Oregon, or how do we ensure that, somebody who's helping out an education program can get their licensure so they can so they can teach, and how do we deliver those programs? And so that's all about accessibility. We just had the regional math contest up on campus, which was nice, and we're able to get some students some scholarships for that. And that's, again, an opportunity to get more kids from the region, more students from the region up to the university to explore and learn more about what we do, and say, maybe this is a place I can go to college. And then, again, like I mentioned earlier, the legislature is in the waning. We've got about a month and a half at the end of June. This week, we're taking a group of students down and for what we call TRUE, the Technical and Regional University Lobby Day. And that is where we partner up with Oregon Tech, Western and Southern Oregon universities, and go out and take students and talk to the legislators about how important it is to support higher education, and really try to help fund it so that we can keep costs down and student accessibility up. So we're excited about going down there and working with legislators, and our students love doing that. So they're the best messengers we can take down to Salem.
You've got your hands in a lot of pots, and I mean, your job pushes you to be in a lot of. Do you like that variety?
I think it's it's a lot like I tell people too about being the president too at the university. It's a lot like running a small business. You get to do or you have to do everything, right? You're doing shipping, receiving. You're also doing, not that the president's down there in the loading docks, but you get to have your hands in a lot of pots. A lot of other universities, I would just be focused, or my position would just be focused in one specific area. And the variety here is great because there's so much to do. But I can't do it alone. I've got a great team of a wonderful marketing director and a fantastic executive director of philanthropy for our fundraising arms, and a great team of folks to work with on government relations. And it's great when you can talk about what Eastern is doing, because if you just look at the list of things that are happening up there, it's easy to promote and easy to talk about.
Yeah. So, and the legislature, I know, is something that takes quite a bit of time for you. And I'm sure folks in my office will always say that's when I kind of disappear for 6 months. A lot of travels, a lot of trips down to Salem and back. I'll be down there for a day or two at a time, and then come back. And during those
those trips, we're meeting with, of course, our Eastern Oregon delegation, folks like Senator Hansel and Representative Levy, Representative Greg Smith and Mark Owens and Senator Lynn Finley from down in Southeast Oregon. But also we're meeting with folks from the Portland area, from the coast, the other folks in leadership. And they have a really good feel for who Eastern is and what we do, and they understand where we're at. So it's not like we go in and they say, "What do you? Who are you? What
Who
do
are
you do?"
you? Yeah.
We've really spent a lot of time over the last several years. Worked with Tom a lot on that to increase our visibility in Salem and amongst leaders, and that's critical for Eastern as a public regional university, particularly as Oregon's rural university.
Right.
Our job is to really promote that, and that's helped crystallize our messaging and who we are, and our really our value proposition that we take to the legislature. It's the same one we take to donors and same one we take to students, is that we're a fantastic regional university. We do a lot of excellent work. You can go a lot of places from here. We can talk to, we can show and talk to our alumni about where they've gone on to, whether it's, working anywhere around the world or leading major corporations, or just being a fantastic baseball coach for LeGrand High School or anything like that. You can do that coming from Eastern.
Is that rewarding for you? I would imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, when you kind of think back over the time that you've been here, the number of students that have come through, and you've kind of watched them go different places.
Yeah, it's been neat working with those students and then seeing them go on. Just talked with an alum of ours who is an attorney and a lobbyist now down in Salem, fairly high-powered lobbyist. Said, "Hey, would you come talk to our students this week when we're down in Salem and just talk about what it's like?" And somebody said, "Well, how do you, what's his experience?" I said, "Well, I remember early on in my career driving him and his vice president in student government down to Salem, and we lobbied all day, and then driving back, and that was kind of some of the first tastes for government relations and that kind of work, and that led him to a career where he's in DC and then came back out west and has been working here in Oregon, and seeing that happen. That was quite a while ago. That's 20 plus years ago now. But also just seeing the students walk across the stage, when you see what we can do, whether it's it's a scholarship for a student a traditional student who wouldn't normally get a chance to go to college, an athlete who, because we've achieved some funds for like sports lottery, which is one of our funding mechanisms through the state, that enables us to add a wrestling program, or a soccer program, and then seeing students who say, "I wouldn't have been able to go to college if it wasn't like a scholarship for me to come play here." Or you see that non-traditional student, that online student, that maybe that adult working parent who single parent who's then slowly churned their way through. They put their kids to bed at night, and then they go back down to the kitchen table and do 2-3 hours of homework, and then get back up at 5:36 a.m. and do the whole thing over again. And then watch them achieve that degree, which gives them financial sustainability and the ability to move up and show their kids that you can do anything you put your mind to. That's life changing, and that's, to me, it's not just the process; it's watching those people walk across the stage and get their diploma, and realizing that Eastern played a huge part in their lives, and that we actually had an impact there.
Yeah,
there's an EOU alumni that's like a president in another country.
Correct. David Penuelo is the president of the Federated States of Micronesia.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he went to school about the same time I did at Eastern, and Tom.
I couldn't remember his name, and I knew it was in the islands. I just didn't want to misquote it.
Yep. It's great. I follow him on Facebook, and it's cool seeing all the things he's doing now. So we're extremely proud of him. So yeah, exactly. That's a good point. You can even lead a country.
Absolutely. Seriously.
No,
a lot of things you can do. Yeah.
No, and that is, I mean, the significance that higher education, that kind of a thing has on a person's life. It's kind of like, I think of it like a train. Everybody gets on this train for the 4 years that they're there, but the time that they're intersecting with each other, and then when they get off the train, they go on in their life or whatever. Yeah. But it is tremendously significant in the lives of those people that go on.
Education is one of our previous interim presidents, Jay Kent, used to say this a lot, but education is the one thing that helps you break the mold that society sets for you. So whether you are, very, you grew up very poor and in your first generation, nobody in your family has maybe gone to college or even graduated. I mean, you hear all stories about people who parents didn't, only had an 8th grade education. And then they go on and not only did a degree, but maybe go on and get their doctorate. That's a model shift for him. Like I was talking about for the single working parent that would say, otherwise, you're stuck, checking groceries for the rest of your life. No, you're not.
Right.
And you can do that and access it. And that's the value. To me, that's the hugest value of public higher education, is that we are an accessible institution. That's who we are. That's what we do really well. And we're extremely proud of that.
Well, in 4 years or 6 or 7 years, it's not that long of a period of time. I mean, when you think about it, when you're younger and you think about that, it seems like eternity. But like when you're our age or my age, and you look back and it's like, that was only 5 years ago.
Right.
That was only 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really not. I mean, and so the ability to take and change your life in a fairly short period of time, or the direction of your life, is like,
you can do a lot
incredibly
more.
significant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's it's the tool that enables you to do more, and then set that model for your kids, the rest of your members of your family. That's why, and it's powerful. That's why you have some folks coming back and getting their degrees when they're 90 years old.
Right.
Folks, say, I really want. They wanted to finish that degree. They couldn't get there. We were able to look at. We had one story of a veteran, make sure his kids all got through college. He was working with our Veterans Affairs, our Veterans Advisor, and said, I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can finish. My doctor doesn't think I should continue to take classes. I just need to. Well, we made him an honorary alum because of all of his dedication and service. And he was so motivated by that. He got better, came back, and actually finished his degree.
Wow.
And walked across the stage. And that was huge. That's super meaningful. So now when some of our folks in like our Veterans Advisor says, when he's talking to students and they're complaining about how tough it is, he says, well, let me tell you about Bob.
It's hard, but let me tell
graduated
you,
in 90. And then it's, okay, I think you're right. So it's a neat thing.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you for your dedication in what it is that you do. I know you personally, and we have a chance to rub shoulders and have lunch together. And I like you as a person too. I like who you are. Yeah. And that's always so, when Kyle and I were spitballing yesterday about, somebody who could be on this morning. I mean, we both expressed how much we enjoy just having a conversation with you, because
you're smart.
Your experience.
It's easy to talk to. You're easy to talk to.
So I leave the tips where?
Yeah.
Under the table. Under the table.
I love doing this. Like you said, I love talking about Eastern. I've been doing it for a while, but it's easy to do, and we could probably go on for a couple hours, and I could fill you on all the things that are happening up there. So that'll be like a multi-series documentary.
Yeah. Well, and people can always get a hold of you. They can write you. Or,
yeah. I'm on the website, and go up on our webpage and check it out. There's always good news and information about there. It's just there's always something happening at Eastern.
Good.
Love it.
All righty. Well, you want to get us out of here, Kyle?
On this day, May 2nd, 1780, William Herschel discovered the first binary star, Ursa Majoris. 1780, first binary star.
What's a binary star?
You're asking the wrong. Do I look like I'm not an astronomy dude? I just copy this off of a website.
Yeah, okay.
And there's not very many today.
Yeah.
On this day in 1887, Hannibal Goodwin patented the celluloid photographic film used in Thomas Edison's kinetoscope.
What year was that?
1887.
1880. Okay.
And then now we jump all the way to 2000. That's how few there were today.
Okay.
A lot of this website, it's all the important stuff, but it like talks about like testing bombs, and I don't want to talk about that on here. So on this day in 2000, Bill Clinton announced that accurate GPS access would no longer be restricted to the United States military. So we've got, the civilians got accurate GPS access in 2000. So 23 years ago.
And what a crazy difference that has made. Yeah.
Oh,
and
I wonder how many lives that saved.
Yeah, for people who don't understand, they originally diffused the accuracy for civilians. Yeah. So in other words, they'd be like, you're approximately within a half a mile of this spot.
And they thought it was a military advantage.
Right. Well, and the reason, that was on purpose.
Yeah.
And so then this event was them taking the lid off of those restrictions.
And then finally, in 2011, Osama bin Laden, the suspected mastermind behind the September 11th attacks, and the FBI's most wanted man at the time, was killed by U.S. Special Forces in Abbottabad, Pakistan. So 12 years ago today.
Wow.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
Number one movie in America on this day in 2003 was John Cusack and Ray Liotta in the movie Identity.
I don't think I've
Ray
seen
Liotta has since passed. He's one of my
Right.
favorite actors. He played Sammy the Bull.
Yeah.
Man, he was so good as Sammy the Bull. And recently, Vice, which is a online documentary,
Yeah.
they sat down with Sammy the Bull.
Oh,
The
really?
actual Sammy the Bull.
Oh,
It's great.
interesting.
That's a crazy story right there. Sammy the Bull was John Gotti's. He was John Gotti's hitman, right-hand man. I mean, he's the one that turned on Gotti and put Gotti in prison.
Wow.
Crazy stories. Quote for the day: aim for the moon. If you miss, you may hit a star. Aim for the moon. If you miss, you may hit a star. That's it.
All right.
Thanks again, Tim. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Happy to be here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
See you on
Eastern Oregon.
Thursday with George Mendoza.
Yep, that's the plan. If you're out there, George, be sure and confirm with us. Otherwise, we'll just plan on you. Thanks a bunch. We'll talk to you soon.